have to check on that, Mr. President. I don't have the list right now, but I can check it and probably give the copy to the gentleman from Pampanga.
Mr. President, there is no need for that because this representation knows the fact that these 15 identified contractors are not members of the Philippine Contractors Associations. Why am I asking this question, Mr. President? Mr. President, I think our good colleague didn't get the question. Mr. President, is our colleague aware of the fact that the 15 contractors identified in these anomalous flood control projects are not even members of the Philippine Contractors Association?
This is not regulation, Mr. President. This is what you call state-sanctioned conflict of interest, and it directly violates Republic Act number 6713 or the Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. And true enough, Mr. President, reports are out that some board members, supposedly watchdogs of the industry, have themselves bagged massive flood control projects like Engineer Ernie Bagao, a pickup board member and owner of the EGB Construction Corporation. This construction company, according to President Marcos, bagged 7.7 billion pesos worth of flood control projects from 2022 to 2025. And these projects are not only tainted with allegations of overpricing and substandard work, but some are outright ghost projects. EGB Construction Corporation reportedly also owns Wow Builders, who is said to be behind several ghost projects in Bulacan, Mr. President. Ang isa pang opisyal na pick-up na si Engineer Arthur Escalante ay nabanggit din ni Senador Ping Lacson na nakakuha ng malalaking kontrata sa pamahalaan. Tell me, Mr. President, paano magiging patas ang isang board o ahensya kung ang mga miyembro nito opisyales ay sumasali at nananalo sa bilyong-bilyong kontrata ng gobyerno, lalo na sa mga flood control projects na ngayon ay nalulubog sa kontrobersiya, anomalya at katiwalian. PICAB is silent because how can they investigate themselves? How can they police their own ranks when the law itself did not explicitly prohibit its officials to stop its construction business? Mr. President, let's stop sugarcoating. This is corruption in broad daylight. Mr. President, this cannot go on. We have to ask ourselves, should contractors still dominate PICAB? Should those who accredit and regulate be the same people who rake in government contracts? Should we impose a total ban on PICAB members and their companies from bidding in public works while in office with a strict cooling-off period after? It is for this reason that I filed Senate Bill number 1373, or an act strengthening the contractor's license law, further amending for the purpose Republic Act number 4566 and for other purposes. Layunin po ng panukalang batas na ito na higpitan ang regulasyon ng mga lisensya ng mga kontratista. Sinisiguro din ito na ang miyembro ng PICAB ay madidiskwalipika kung siya ay may-ari o opisyal ng mga kumpanyang may transaksyon sa pamahalaan. Mr. President, the Filipino people deserve honesty, fairness in public works projects that truly serve their communities. Not this circus where regulators double as beneficiaries, where laws are exploited and where corruption festers under the guise of legality. Ang Republic Act number 4566 ay naging bulok na batas na ginagamit sa pansariling interes. It was meant to protect the public, Mr. President, but now it is protecting the pockets of the few. Mr. President, it is time to slam the brakes on this racket. No more thieves involved in the creation of our national budget. No more regulations or regulators doubling as profiteers. No more flood control projects that serve as cash cows for the few, while millions of Filipinos ay nalulunod at inaadod ng tubig baha. Enough is enough, Mr. President. We have to take action. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon sa ating lahat.
Thank you, Senator Erwin Tulfo.
Mr. Chair, Mr.
Majority
President,
Leader.
we move to refer the speech of the gentleman to the Committee on
Public accountability.
Public Accountability and Civil Service, Your Honor, because there is corruption that is being mentioned and malfeasance, misfeasance. So it's usually it's Blue Ribbon Committee first, and then with Civil Service as secondary committee. I so move, Mr. President.
All right, any objection? Chair hears none. Motion is approved.
May we recognize, I'm sorry, the good gentleman from Isabela and the Republic of the Philippines wanted to make a manifestation on the topic of Senator Erwin Tulfo. May we also recognize him, Mr. President?
Senator Rafi Tulfo is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to associate myself with the privileged speech of Senator Erwin Tulfo. PCAB is currently at the center of investigations associated with either ghost or substandard government infrastructure projects. As the government institution tasked to strictly monitor licensed contractors, PCAB is in hot water as corruption, including under-the-table dealings, easily favors fly-by-night contractors and discourages honest contractors. PCAB, together with its parent agency, the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines, or SIAP, should be made accountable with this mess. Hindi po sapat ang resignation ng ilang opisyal ng PCAB upang ayusin ang problemang ito. There should be major reforms to improve the licensing and accreditation process. I thank Senator Erwin for filing Senate Bill number 1373 to strengthen the contractor's license law, the law which requires all contractors, subcontractors, and especially contractors to obtain license from the PCAB. In line with this, Mr. President, is the gentleman from Palawan, Ilocos, and Davao willing to answer a few questions?
Sure, Mr. President.
But before
You may proceed.
because Ilocos, my father is from Ilocos, my mom is from Davao, and he has a residence in Palawan. So, is that correct, Mr. President?
That's true, Mr. President.
Okay. Before my question, Mr. President, I just need to make some point here. During the last hearing sa Blue Ribbon, I called the attention of the leadership of PCAB. Nasabi ko dapat yung mga opisyalis na yon ay ma-issuean ng whole departure order, particularly these people. Number one, Dr. Pericles Dakay, Engineer Arthur Escalante, Engineer Ernie Bagao, Attorney Herbert Matienzo, Attorney Marco Matt, and Doris Gacho. Ito po yung mga opisyalis ng PCAB para sa akin ay dapat maimbestigahan at kung kinakailangan ay makasuhan. Bakit kanyo, Mr. President, I found out na prior to May 12, 2022, ang sinisingil na para sa licensing fee ng mga contractor na nag-a-apply para maging contractor was 100 pesos. Again, 100 pesos. Pero noong May 12, 2022, naging effective yung RA 11711, amending the contractor's license law from 100 pesos, ito ay dapat, ang sinisingil na ay 5,000 pesos. Pero gayon pa man, tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang paniningil nitong mga taga-PCAB ng 100 pesos at sino-shortchange ang government ng 4,900. Ang tanong, saan na pupunta yung 4,900 pesos kada aplikante ng mga contractor? Kaya nag-issue ang Commission on Audit ng report at sinasabing sila ay short ng 258 million pesos. At nung kinausap ko sa nasabing hearing, ito mga taga-PCAB, ang sinabi nila kasi nag-issue sila ng IRR at pinoward kay Presidente bago raw mai-implement yung 5,000 na singil. And I told them, hindi, kasi wala doon sa procedure, sa provision, na dapat magkaroon ng IRR para makasingil ng 5,000, gawing it effective after maipass yung RA 1171, 711. Ang sabi ng Presidente, kasi yun daw ang sabi ng kanilang mga abogado. So sabi ko, yung mga abogado nila siguro ay ob-ob, kailangan na mag-resign dahil hindi nila alam kung ano yung pinanggagawa nila. But anyway, Mr. President, my question to Senator Erwin, ano po ay mga salient features ng SBN 1373?
Marami po, Sen. Rafi, Mr. President, ang meron itong Republic Act, or not Republic Act, but SB 1373. Narito po ang ilan dito, ang reorganisasyon po ng PCAB na ang kanilang mga miyembro na 5, chairman plus 4 po na miyembro, ay dapat po mga representante mula sa DPWH, Securities and Exchange Commission, at contracting industry at saka academe or civil society. At alisin na po yung mga kontratista na mga nakaupo po doon. Isa pa po, mas stricto na qualification para sa mga miyembro. Dapat po ang miyembro nito ay natural-born Filipino, residente po ng 8 taon dito sa ating bayan, at least 35 years old, na may maganda pong moral character. Disqualification cannot be an owner po, officer or stockholder of a construction company with government transactions. Dapat po wala kung siya po ay may negosyo. If a conflict of interest arises during his tenure, the member must divest interest within 30 days, Mr. President. Isa pa pong feature nito ay ang fixed term of office. Ang chairman at ang mga miyembro ay magsisilbi po ng 3 taon at wala na pong reappointment. Enhanced powers of PCAB. PCAB can now investigate violations motu proprio on its own or upon verified complaints. Ang nangyayari po kasi ngayon, Mr. President, hindi sila nag-iimbestiga dahil paano nila iimbestigahan ang kanilang mga sarili, Mr. President? Ang panghuli po, stronger accountability of contractors. Prescripted period of filing charges extended to 10 years. Yung mga substandard at saka mga ghost projects, dapat po kahit na 10 taon na yan at pwede pong kasuhan. Renewal after revocation of license may only be reissued upon proof, demonstrable financial and operating capacity, full satisfaction of losses, costs, and compliance with condition of revocation. Yan po ang mga salient features po ng naturang Senate bill. Mr. President.
Mr. President, I'm looking forward na itong PCAB sa susunod na hearing, either Blue Ribbon o sa public accountability, ay mapatawag lalo itong mga opisyales nila nang sa gayon magsagawa tayo ng malalim na investigasyon hinggil sa mga kalokohan ng mga taong ito. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Rafi.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
May we recognize Senator Marcoleta, Mr. President.
Senator Dante Marcoleta is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Is our colleague, Mr. President, still amenable for a few clarificatory questions by way of interpellation.
Yes, Mr. President.
Mr. President, is our honorable colleague aware of the fact that the 15 contractors identified by the President of the Philippines in his initial report about the anomalous corruption in the flood control projects are not even members of the Philippine Contractors Association?
Mr. President, yung si Attorney Ernie Bagaw na mention po na may-ari ng EGB Construction ay isa po doon sa top 15 na ayon po sa listahan ng Pangulo ay nakakuha po ng 7.7 billion pesos. Siya po ay board member ng PICAB, Mr. President.
Mr. President, I think our good colleague didn't get the question. Mr. President, is our colleague aware of the fact that the 15 contractors identified in these anomalous flood control projects are not even members of the Philippine Contractors Association?
We will have to check on that, Mr. President. I don't have the list right now, but I can check it and probably give the copy to the gentleman from Pampanga.
Mr. President, there is no need for that because this representation knows the fact that these 15 identified contractors are not members of the Philippine Contractors Associations. Why am I asking this question, Mr. President? The Philippine Contractors Association is the primary organization of the most reputable contractors in this country. And I'd like to provide the information that this particular association is singly responsible in the creation of the CIAP. This is the Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines. Before that, Mr. President, the construction is not considered as an industry. It is only a sector. At that time, there was a debate, a national debate, that it is contributory to the gross domestic product of our country. It being a sector, it was not recognized as an industry. But because of the Philippine Contractors Association, it espoused a national consciousness that it is a major industry, one that is constructing the very foundation of our infrastructure. It is the one responsible to our skyline. Kaya ko po sinasabi ito, Mr. President, kailangan marinig din po sila. Hindi naman po kung halimbawa nakakita tayo ng ilang kamatis na bulok na nandun po sa isang tiklis, ay masisiraan na po yung buong figura ng construction industry in this country. Napakarami po ng reputable. Ito po, kaya ko po sinasabi, baka po sa pagbanat natin doon sa 15 lang, kung tutuusin ay nasasadlak pa sila sa isang investigasyon na ongoing ngayon sa Blue Ribbon Committee. Sana'y tingnan natin po yung mga matitibay na haligi ng construction industry na sila po yung nagtayo, sila ang nanguna kung bakit nagkaroon po ng CIAP, ng Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board sa ilalim po ng Department of Trade and Industry. Kaya ko po sinasabi ito, Mr. President, bago pa po ako naging congressman. Ako po ay nagtrabaho sa isang federasyon ng mga contractors. Ang Philippine Contractors po ay isang matibay na haligi at kasama po sa tinatawag na International Federation of Asian and Western Pacific Contractors Association. Ang ibig po sabihin niyan, tayo po'y bahagi ng isang regional, even a global conglomerate of contractors. Sana po ay matingnan din natin yung paraan kung paano na-develop kung paano naging bahagi ng ating ekonomiya ang Philippine Construction Accreditation Board sa ilalim ng pamamahala ng Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines na ngayon nga po ay nando na po na bahagi ng ating Department of Trade and Industry. Yun lamang po ang aking gustong sabihin by way of manifestation. Salamat, Senator Erwin, sa pagpapahayag mo ng bahaging ito na maaari nating mapag-usapan in terms of legislation. Salamat po.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President. Pero I just want to clarify, Mr. President, that my privileged speech was not about the Contractors Association. It was rather centered on the bill that should amend the Philippine Contractors Accreditation Board, Mr. President, not specifically on the Contractors Association, but rather yung pong batas na ginawa pa noong Hunyo 19, 1965, lumang-luma na po at parang hindi na po siya applicable to this day, Mr. President. So yun po yung nais ko pala lamang pong sabihin sa aking pong privileged speech. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we'd like to thank the good gentleman for his privileged speech. And I'd like to reiterate that we include as well the interpellation of Senator Raffy Tulfo and Senator Marcoleta to the referral of the measure or the speech to the Blue Ribbon and the Civil Service Committees.
All right, hearing no objection, so referred.
Mr. President, on the item today, we have one of the items of the agenda today is we have the sponsorship of a treaty. But before we do that, we need to have a reference of business. So I move for the reference of business, Mr. President, so that we can
Yes,
take up
what
the treaty.
about the approval of the journal? Would you like to
Yes,
do that now?
We move to approve the journal, Mr. President, and I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, the approval of the journal is approved.
This is for the 20th session, Mr. President, Monday,
Yes.
September 15. And move for the previous motion, Mr. President, that we proceed with the reference of business.
The Secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Bills on first reading. Senate Number 1251, an act establishing a comprehensive Philippine environmental assessment system, creating the National Environment Protection Agency, and allocating funding therefor. Senator Legarda.
Referred to the Committees on Environment, Civil Service, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1252, an act declaring Santa Ana District in the City of Manila a historical and cultural heritage zone, appropriating funds therefor and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Culture and the Arts, Tourism, and Finance.
Senate Number 1253, an act safeguarding the traditional property rights of indigenous peoples recognizing their collective ownership over traditional cultural expressions, knowledge, and practices, establishing a system for protection and management thereof, providing for free, prior, and informed consent, prescribing penalties for unauthorized use, appropriating funds therefor and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Cultural Communities, Culture and the Arts, and Finance.
Senate Number 1254, an act institutionalizing the Shared Service Facilities Project for micro, small, and medium enterprises, amending RA 6977, the Magna Carta for Small Enterprises, as amended by RA 9501, the Magna Carta for Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Trade, Economic Affairs, and Finance.
1255, an act further amending RA 8759, otherwise known as the Public Employment Service Act of 1999, as amended to include entrepreneurship in the scope of the law, to rename the present Public Employment Service Office into the Public Employment Entrepreneurship Office, and to establish the Barangay Employment and Entrepreneurship Offices nationwide, defining its role within the existing network, providing funds therefor and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Labor, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate Number 1256, an act promoting food forest gardening, providing funds therefor and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1257, an act promoting integrated urban agriculture and vertical farming in urban areas nationwide to ensure food security and appropriating funds therefor. Senator Legarda. One, 1257.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Basic Education, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1258, an act providing policies and prescribing procedures to prevent, control, and respond to infectious diseases, amending RA 11332, the mandatory reporting of notifiable diseases and health events of Public Health Concern Act, and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on Health and Ways and Means.
1259, an act facilitating and regulating international disaster relief and initial recovery assistance, and for other purposes. Senator Legarda.
To the Committees on National Defense, Foreign Relations, Ways and Means, and Finance.
1260, an act promoting inclusive and sustainable productivity growth, repealing for the purpose RA 6971, the Productivity Incentives Act of 1990. Senator Legarda.